So Joe Biden has set, I think, a modern American record for new executive orders from a new chief executive. Most presidents over the last 20 years or so have issued 2 or 3, maybe even 4 in their first week. Joe Biden managed to get 33 of them out in his first week. And he was the guy who said last fall as a candidate that people who overuse executive orders are nothing better than dictators. So I guess I'll take his definition on that. But one of them in particular has to do with fuel. And I thought we'd talk about it with Nick Loris, who's deputy director of the Roe Institute for Economic Policy Studies and the Morgan Fellow in Energy and Environmental Policy at Heritage. Nick, welcome back to the program.
Well, thank you for having me.
So how quickly will these orders to cancel federal leasing on or leasing for oil drilling purposes on federal lands and natural gas as well, and the cancellation of the Keystone XL pipeline, how long is it going to take for that piece of news to travel from Joe Biden's signature at that tiny table all the way to the pump and the price we all pay for fuel?
Yeah, I mean, the markets are already anticipating this, along with hopefully some economic recovery news that will push the demand up too. But this really sends a signal as to what the administration is planning to do with conventional fuels. And if you're going to restrict supply on federal lands, on infrastructure, as well as increase regulations on existing infrastructure, that's going to drive up prices at the pump. How much remains to be seen. But there's only one direction that it's going to go as a result of all of these policies.
Now, I know that decisions like the one that General Motors announced this week to say that 2035 we will no longer make gasoline-powered passenger cars and SUVs. They will make a few gasoline-powered heavy-duty trucks, but apparently those are not for the rest of us. I know that sort of thing doesn't turn on a dime, but is that coincidental that happened just days after Joe Biden said no more drilling, no more fracking, no more Keystone XL pipeline?
Yeah, as well as, what California said with their executive order before the election, which is that they were going to ban the internal combustion in that state, or at least attempt to within the next 15 years. And this is a push, I think, to get ahead of these regulations. What you're going to see is the Biden administration effectively rewriting the Trump fuel economy mandates and make them more stringent, maybe closer to what the Obama administration had as a fleet-wide target of 54.5 miles per gallon, which is really steering us in the direction of more electrification of the transportation sector. And one of the ways that they are trying to get there is not just through these regulations, but also the carrot approach, too. We can't forget is that they plan on pushing a number of different subsidies for the production of electric vehicles, for the consumption of electric vehicles, that largely those tax credits accrue to the wealthiest of Americans, as well as subsidizing a whole host of charging stations all across the country. So, if we are going to have electrification and the market drives us there, that's great. All the better. We want more competition and we want diversification of our energy sources. But if it's being driven by mandates and subsidies and regulations, that's not the way to go.
Nick, I guess one of the things that irks me the most about this, a private company like GM can do whatever they want to do. That's certainly their privilege. But most companies say, we want to produce the products that our consumers want to buy. And in this case, GM is saying, we're just going to stop making cars that run on gas and diesel. And in that case, I suspect that if you ask most companies that come out with a product and then come out with a better product and a better product than that, they still keep selling the old products as long as there are people who want to buy them. In this case, is GM effectively telling the American public, you may want to buy a gasoline-powered car, but we're simply going to deny it to you because we know that if you walked in and saw the price of the gasoline-powered car, the price of the electric, you compare the various attributes of them and the price and the incentives, that consumers would choose to buy those gasoline-powered cars. Otherwise, wouldn't GM just say, we're going to make gas and electric, we're going to do both, and we'll let the marketplace decide. If customers want to buy gas-powered cars, we'll sell them to you. But they're saying we won't even sell them to you. So to some extent, this is a major American car company telling consumers, we're not going to let you buy the product even if you really want to.
Yeah, that's right. It's amazing to see it that far ahead to make those projections. Who knows where we'll be and what the electric car market and just the car market in general will look like in 15 years. But that's right. You know, they are sending a strong signal to their consumers that they're going to deny them of this product. And it remains to be seen, you know, what some of their competitors will do. This could be certainly a good opportunity for the competitors if the internal combustion engine and gas-powered and diesel-powered cars, you know, people are still in demand there, then, you know, that's going to be a great business opportunity for some of these other automakers to step up and fill that void, because at least for right now, you know, the electric vehicle market hasn't grown as fast or as much as some have wanted it to. Yes, Tesla is doing well, and their stock is worth so much more than the rest of the automakers combined. But at the same time, the market demand in terms of electric vehicle sales has not been where the Obama administration wanted it to go or where electric vehicle producers wanted it to go so far.
Well, and Nick, I'm glad you brought that up because the numbers tell the tale, don't they? I think that many Americans don't realize there are 250 million privately owned automobiles and trucks. Now, that doesn't count all the delivery trucks that bring the groceries to your store or other consumer products. 250 million. What are we selling? A couple of 100,000 electrics every year and 16 million gas and diesel-powered cars every year? If we got electric production up to, say, 1 million units a year, at that rate, it would take a quarter of a millennia to replace all the existing automobiles with electric. So, and even if you assume we got it to 5 million electric cars a year, it would still take 50 years to replace the 250 million. And that's assuming that the other companies don't follow GM's lead and say, we too will deny the American public a choice. We'll simply tell you, this is the kind of car you're going to buy. We won't sell you the one you really want.
Yep, that's exactly right. And so, you know, the demand for internal combustion engine vehicles is still very strong. The demand for pickup trucks is still very strong. If you look at the top three selling cars and light-duty trucks, it's been light-duty trucks in terms of the F-150 and the Chevrolet Silverado and the Ram pickup truck for quite some time now. And so, the consumer confidence for battery mileage in terms of how far they can go, how far they'll last in the cold. There's still a lot of skepticism in the market that has tampered some of the expectations for electric vehicles taking off. And again, these are things that the market can solve, but let the market solve them. Let's not make these huge proclamations as to where we're going to be in the next 15 years. And certainly let's not use government levers to force us there with these fuel economy standards and with these targeted tax credits and with these subsidies for electric charging infrastructure stations, especially when we don't really know what the environmental benefit is going to be. It's not as if electric vehicles are emission-free or have zero environmental costs. There's still mining to be had to get the lithium and the iron lithium-ion batteries made. You still have to charge them, and 62% of our electricity needs come from coal and natural gas, so there's emissions there. So we should also look at the life cycle emissions of these technologies really from a cost-benefit analysis if we're thinking about measuring any type of environmental benefits from these policies.
I couldn't agree with you more. Nick Loris, it's a pleasure. Thanks so very much, sir.
Anytime. Thanks again for having me.
Thanks for watching the Heritage Foundation's YouTube channel. With more than 500,000 members, we are the nation's largest conservative research and education institution. We believe the principles and ideas of the American founding are worth conserving and renewing. Please help us further our mission by subscribing to this channel and sharing our videos with your family and friends.